So these are the newest edition of our Aeros target arrows. So we found with the Aeros, they were super popular, especially for like recurve and low draw weight bows, because we could get them in spines from 500 down to 1500. The trouble was, to keep the cost that cheap, if you want to go stiffer in spine, you have to go to a higher grade of carbon. So that's why we brought out the Aeros Pro. So this arrow is a 3 thou straightness compared to the Aeros, which is a 6 thou. So you're getting a little bit more performance out of these. These are designed to be a competitor to those arrows kind of carbon 1 and above in the eastern range. So with these, the spine at the moment goes down to 350, I believe. So it'll cover pretty much all target draw weights for world archery stuff. You can also get these for recurve. So we've got these down to 1000 spine as well. The cool thing about these is they come literally like this. You pull them out of the box with your point installed. They've got a 120 grain point in the front. You got a pin and a pin knock installed in the back of the arrow as well, and 1 3/4 inch shield vanes pre-fletched. So I hate fletching, especially compound arrows. You've got to glue your vanes on. Spin wings I don't mind too much because you can just do them in the fly. You don't have to like worry about glue drying or anything like that. But I wanted something that I could just pull out of the box and go shoot with target weight points, with pin knocks, and with shield vanes installed. And that's what we've got in the Aeros Pro. They also come in shaft form. So these are some 800 spine shafts. So you can install all your components. Obviously for recurve, if you're not wanting to shoot a shield style vane and you're wanting to shoot a spin wing, you can buy them in shaft form as well. They'll also take a G-knock if you're wanting to use insert knocks rather than pin knocks. So they're a 166 size arrow. So most of your Eastern Carbon 1 components will fit into these arrows as well. The issue we had with starting target archers off in the shop was they'd come in, and if they were shooting a draw weight anything stiffer than the 500, you'd basically have to say to them, say they'd bought, you know, like a PSC Stinger or something like that for their first bow and spent 700, 800 bucks on a bow. If you want a decent arrow, you're gonna have to pay the shop to build it, or you're gonna have to invest in a fletching jig, glue, and learn all this stuff to get anything like a Carbon 1, like an Avance, anything that was like a step up from an Aeros. So this is designed to fill that gap. So these arrows at the moment are retailing for $160 Australian for a dozen. Like this, pull them out of the box, go shoot. For the shafts, I think they're $110 or $120 a dozen. And we've got all the components like your pins, your points, and all that kind of stuff available for these as well. So like we did with the Aeros, I'm going to grab the Straightness Tester. We'll run a few of these through and we'll see how they compare. All right, so we'll take 3 of our Aeros Pros. I'll just run them through here and see how they're looking. Pretty good. Again, these are 3 I've just randomly taken out of the box. Haven't checked them at all. Pretty good. Not much movement there either. So we're going to test the Aeros Pro out at 50 meters. One of the benefits of lockdown in Victoria, here we are in our 5th lockdown, is that I can open up the wall behind the targets and get to 50 meters. So we're going to test these out a little bit of distance, and we will give them a shot and see how the Aeros Pro perform over long range. So we're back after shooting a 36 arrow game at 50 meters. So this was the final target, shooting 50 meters on an 80 centimeter face. You can quite clearly see all the ones dropped out the bottom of me, and that top left one was me as well. So my vertical group is where I dropped all the points. My horizontal group is good enough to all be in the middle. So that shows that arrows are performing really well. So that was a 355 at 50 meters. So it could be a target score of 710, 711, 709, somewhere around there, which is pretty good for $160 a dozen arrow that I've literally pulled out the box. I haven't had to sit there and do anything to these. I haven't had to install nocks, pins, fletch them, cut them, do anything like that. Which is the beauty of these arrows, is you can skip all those stages. Again, if you're wanting higher tolerances, you absolutely can buy the shafts, build them from scratch, and get them to that next level as well. The purpose of this video was to show you that these arrows are capable of shooting really competitive scores. The advantage you're going to get if you move up to an ACE or an X10, spending 2 to 3 times the cost of these arrows, is the barreling, the aluminium core, and the tolerances. Are you going to notice a tolerance from a 3 thou straightness to a 1 thou straightness? Maybe, maybe not. Is the aluminium going to make a difference? Maybe, maybe not. Is the barreling going to make a difference? Yes, for a recurve archer. And again, all of these things will help you, but are you going to notice them? And if you're at the level where you can shoot high 710s, you're probably at the point where you're willing to pay that extra bit of money to buy those extra 1 or 2 points per round. But these are really good for a beginner, intermediate archer who's competing at state level, national level, even international level. These arrows will still perform. We're going to have the E1 pin nocks, E1 pins, and E1 points available separately as well. And hopefully this helps a few people get into target archery without the scary price tags and being able to get really good performance in an arrow without having to sit there and learn how to fletch or pay a shop to fletch the arrows for them. So these were the Aeros Pro, and they're available at elizaarchery.com.